Peace, peace. We're gonna let the room get filled up a little bit here. Then we get into the topic. Yeah, te watch to each. Peace, peace. All right. Let's get into some current events. Right, everyone by now done heard about the Charlie Kirk assassination. And many of our people were sad about it. And the thing is that you can basically see that it was staged. There was something on which that was moving in his shirt prior to him getting shot. And then when he got shot, or allegedly got shot, the individual in which that did it was not who they said it was. It was not the shooter who was on top of the building. And even then, when you compare the two, because there was a picture of him, and there was also another picture of him, one with shades on, without shades on. But you can look and see that that there was something strange because the ears were different, you know, that type of thing. All right. And then they say that he used a 10 off 30. A 10 off 30 is about 42 to 44 inches long, depending on the type that you get. There's no way that he jumped down from the building with that, and there's no way in which that he folded that up into a backpack. So these are just some of the lies in which that the media has been telling the people. Still fake news, regardless on the fact if President Trump is in office or not. They still producing fake news. And obviously, this was faked or staged to create a civil war. Because when it happened, we find that the first people in which that the white supremacists wanted to blame was black people. Until the news came out and showed that it was a conservative Republican by the name of Tyler Robinson. I believe that was his name, of the shooter. Okay. So that was strange within itself. That was something strange. And then we got videotaping of when you go back and slow down the video of when he got shot. There was a guy who was standing right behind him who was giving signals. Two of them, as a matter of fact. And one stepped back out of the way. And there was another one in which that was in the crowd to Charlie Kirk's right, in which that had a gun, in which that shows that the bullet came from the right of Charlie. Now, I don't really want to go too deep with this because I'm not really interested in these types of current events. But what I am interested in is what they've been claiming about the 3-Eye Atlas. And then they added that Norman Burgum, a former NASA and NACA employee, stated on his videotape several years ago, I think it was around 2010, he was being interviewed by a lady, and he said that when the ship, those who came off the ship, they were black. And she said, dark skin. He said, no, black. Okay. And she asked him, well, how tall were they? And he said, well, based on the doorway, I would say conservatively, a conservative estimate, at least 7 feet tall. At least 7 feet tall. Okay. So, this is where the concept comes from. And there was also another individual from NASA in which that stated that he also seen the beings, and these beings were what we would refer to as similar to African Americans. Okay, similar to African Americans. That's another interesting concept because that concept can be utilized to bash African Americans, as they call us. All right. At least for those who take the term African American serious, which I don't because it's a patent, trademark, copywritten term. And Jesse Jackass brought it to the forefront. All right. In which that it should never have been brought to the forefront. That was to intercept the Moorish movement. Moors and Moors. And no, there's no difference. And for those who keep saying that on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, they are sadly mistaken. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. I've been in this movement for over 35 years. And I can tell you a fact. If you read The Return of the Ancient Ones by the Empress Vidiasi Tierra, Washington Tournica Gaston El-Bey, she used the word Moor, M-U-U-R, and M-O-O-R interchangeably in the book. And this is how you can tell that these slow-ass niggas ain't never read the book. And this goes for the ones in which that is saying that they are Indians as well. Because we don't reply to the term Indian because it's federalized, regardless of the meaning. Think about this. They don't have a problem with you using the term foundational Black Americans. FBA, more like FBI. Tariq Nasheed, I believe, came up with that bullshit. But yet his first video in Hidden Colors was talking about Moors throughout the whole damn thing. So you know that was a PSYOPs program. I'm tired of this shit. You're either going to tell the fucking truth or get off the playing field. This is the problem that's going on right now. Too much confusion and not enough common sense and not enough research. Niggas want to get on and get their 5 minutes of fame. And that's all they're concerned about. And then try to give you everything within 3 minutes on TikTok. You can't give information that's important like this in no goddamn 3 minutes. Just for the niggas who got short attention spans. Who can't watch an hour to 2 hours to 3 hour video. So they watch 1 to 2 to 3 minutes on TikTok. And then quote that shit like they know something. This is a problem. This is a problem. We have to learn to have discretion, discernment, comprehension skills is required for your salvation. They're not giving you information in which that would save you, even at a mundane level. You got Negroes talking about commerce, and they haven't even done the first thing, and that's nationality. And they're confusing status correction with nationality. Status correction don't give you nationality. Sorry. Okay? It just doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen like that. You have to be part of a tribe. Okay? And I'll admit, the Moral Science Temple of America right now is just a religious organization. They don't deal with civic. Majority of them are 501c3. That means there's no salvation in that shit. They're not a 508c1a, which is a free church, or free mosque, free temple, free synagogue. There's no freedom in that. They have to abide by the laws set forth as you establish your 501c3. And that means not to be political, or they will lose their tax exemption status. Uh-oh, that's another problem. Another problem. Because Prophet Noble Drew Ali didn't set up no temple under a 501c3. That shit came with the assassination of John F. Kennedy by Lyndon Baines Johnson, who was the vice president, who became president, and he instituted the 501c3 to shut down the churches and keep them from being a political movement, a body politic. You can't even teach from the book of Revelations under a 501c3. That's why you'll never hear a minister, pastor teach from the book of Revelation. Think about it. They go over the exact same passages over and over and over and over again. They don't give you nothing new. No different interpretation, or I should say, no real interpretation of the scriptures. One in which that tell you the science of the human anatomy, in which that leads to salvation. 1 foot in heaven, 1 foot on earth. And that is essentially correlated to the 7 laws of Tahuti, the 7 universal principles of Tahuti, Hermes Trismegistus, also known as thought. Thought. What are the 7 principles? The law of correspondence, the law of mentalism, the law of vibration, the law of rhythm, the law of gender, which is sex, the law of polarity, these are the laws. Correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without. That's the supreme axiom. If you're not doing it like that, then you only got part of the truth. So let's say Jesus existed, which in the aspect he did. His name was Yeshua ben Pandera. He got crucified on the cross during the Passover. Same story in which that is in your Bible. However, they fluffed that shit up a little bit. Yeah, they fluffed it up, you know how they do. Got to make it more exciting. Like your TV shows and your movies that you watch. Got to make it a little bit more exciting. It can't be like that. Can't be dull, and you got to add some excitement to it. So yes, there was a man by the name of Yeshua ben Pandera. He was the son of Pandera. He was from the tribe of Judah. So that Yeshua existed, according to the Talmud, in which they say that Mary was a bitch. They say Mary was a whore, according to the Talmud. The fake Jews say that. Revelations, the 2nd chapter, the 9th verse. Revelation, the 3rd chapter, the 9th verse. There are those who say they are Jews, Hebrews, Israelites, but are not. They're really the synagogue of Satan. Y'all get this? This is the problem. This is the problem. So back to the 3-eye atlas. They say the ship is going to come here by October the 29th. Or between now, actually September the 22nd, which is Monday, Tuesday, to October the 29th, around the time of Halloween. Surprise, nigga! Trick or treat! Trick or treat, niggas. All right. And what they're going to do, they're going to blame niggas who they claim is going to be on a cigar shaped craft. In other words, a blunt. Niggas going to be on the blunt. The niggas is going to be on the blunt. Y'all want to smoke some of that shit? According to Stephen Greer, as well as also according to William Bill Cooper in his book Behold a Pale Horse, they both talk about the fact that the governments around the world, in particular the United States or their affiliates, will fake a UFO attack. Now, don't think that this shit's just going to be Project Bluebeam, because they got man-made UFOs. Niggas going to be on top of the rooftops like on Independence Day and get fucked up. You hear me? Don't do that shit. You want to take pictures? Take that shit from your fucking window inside your home. Don't be damn standing outside waiting for the motherfuckers to come and get your ass. Okay? Because this ain't about you getting saved. Now, are there real crafts? Hell yeah. There's real crafts. Have I seen them? Hell yeah. I've seen them all my life. There's real crafts. There's real UFOs. There's real, I won't even say UAPs, because I don't like that new term. That's a term in which that they utilize for their man-made UFOs. I believe in which that's been re-engineered from the real crafts in which that has crashed. These particularly from the futuristic Greys. The Greys are a group of not aliens per se, but they come from the future. They are mutants that is severely fucked up. They can't even reproduce any longer. So they got to take the blood of animals and humans, etc., in order to give them life, because there's life in the blood. See, we have a problem. And right now, niggas don't know that they're going to be trick or treat, niggas. Trick or treat, niggas. Give you something good to eat. That's what they're going to do. That's what's going to happen. I've been seeing what they call UFOs ever since I was 9 years old. The first time it happened, I was living in Coney Island in Brooklyn. And there was a craft in which that hovered over top of my head about 100 to 150 yards over top of my head, slightly to the right. The craft had the colors of the rainbow in which that went around it, popping in and out around the middle portion of the craft. And I speak about all of this in my new book, Planetary Genesis, Stargate DNA, and the human origin, extraterrestrial origin of humans. If y'all don't have it, you'll need to get it. It's on the website, dralimel-bey.com. dralimel-bey.com. You need to get that book because everything that's going on right now is in the book. It will answer all the questions in which that you have about the Anunnakian. How's that is the Anuk race of people who are so-called black. You have the DNA of the Anuk, who's known as the Anunnakians. The European or Albion does not. There's still a group of them that lives right now in Ethiopia, as well as the ones in which that live here in America, which is over 60%. So yes, you have ties to the Anunnakians, to Anu. Anu as a whole were the pygmies, the Twa people as we call them. They was known as the Anu race. They are one of the oldest, if not the oldest living people on the planet. People want to say the San people. But the San people are just one of the oldest. They both go back to a group of people. In fact, there's a book called, his name is W. Raymond Drake, called God's Spacemen of the West. In other words, here. And he speaks about the fact that the Twa people are over 30 million years old. So what is this bullshit about the Anunnakian being just 300,000 years old? The Anunnakian is supposed to came 300,000 years ago and created man in their image and after their likeness, according to the Bible. They was the Elohim. But yet, the Twa people been on the planet Earth for over 30 million years. Something wrong with that scenario. If you keep listening to Billy Carson about this Anunnaki shit. Yes, we're related to them, but they're not the first and they're not the ones in which they seeded this planet Earth. The ones who seeded this planet Earth were the Syrian beings. In other words, beings from the star constellation Sirius, Canis Major. And how we know this? Because in Masonry, it is called the blazing star. The sun behind the sun. Every 25,928 years, it is said that we travel with Sirius, A, B, and C, Polo Tolo, Ziggy Tolo, and Emiya Tolo. And it said that we travel with it through the 12 zodiac signs. So our solar system is a sister to Canis Major, in which that sits right next to Orion, the man in the sky, the man upstairs, as he's called. You think they talking about God. No, they're talking about Orion, because the word Orion means heaven. What? What did I just say? The word Orion in Greek, Greco-Latin, means heaven. So when they say they're going to heaven, they're talking about to the constellation Orion. And it's no coincidence that Orion has a nebula where stars are born. And it's no coincidence that your body is 93% stardust energy. That's no goddamn, no damn coincidence. That's a goddamn fact. That's a fact. But you're going to have to work on that other 7% in order to take your body out of here along with your etheric body, astral body, mental body, causal body, spiritual body, and your soul body. Because you got 7 bodies. It's just like water. You got ice. Ice is warmed up. It's water. It's warmed up again. It's steam, vapor. That's how you are. There's formulas for this shit. You can practice Qigong, Tai Chi, Reiki, pranic healing, chanting. The Tibetan monks say it would take you 13 to 60 years to be able to transform your body into the rainbow body, the golden dragon body, the celestial body, the incorruptible body, the spiritual body, the antimantium body. Whatever term that you want to use. And take your physical body with you without having to see death. That's up to you. Or you can just pass form, leave your body here on earth, and take your etheric body to the realm of form, where it will disintegrate and be utilized by the Qigong and Tai Chi Reiki pranic masters as additional energy for their life force. Yeah, you never heard that shit before. Then you go to the astral plane. The astral plane is in the beginning or the end all. Niggas get stuck on the astral plane. Well, I have a body experience. I went to the astral plane. But nigga, did you go to the mental plane? What about the causal plane? What about the spiritual plane? What about the soul plane? Because Prophet Noble Ali spoke about, I'm going to the soul plane, the highest plane there is, in order to continue my work from there. So niggas don't get stuck on astral plane shit. The higher astral plane is the mental plane. And higher than that is the causal plane, which is the higher mental plane. Then you have the spiritual plane and the soul plane. Let's get this shit right. Because once again, tired of niggas getting on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and don't know what the fuck they talking about. They haven't had no experiences. And they definitely didn't study or read any books. They didn't do enough research study. And that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's what this shit should be called. That's a problem. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, here. Where's the joint at? Hold on, y'all. Let me
Ariel?
do an invite.
Okay, you gotta send me an invite right now. Get on live. Okay, awesome. Okay, it's being sent to your Gmail. Yes, it was nice talking to you, Pisces. Yes, you sure will. Peace. Okay, send it to me too. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Hold on, let me tell it to
you. All right. So that's what we're talking about, y'all. These problems in which that all these damn PSYOP agents. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All these PSYOP agents, you know what I'm saying? In the community, telling you bullshit. Telling you information which that has no relevance towards your existence and putting you back into a loop. That's all they're doing, putting you back in the loop. And Prophet Noble Ali stated that there will come a time where these Negroes will re-enslave their own people. And that's what they're doing. So keep using the term Indian and think that's going to get you. Because guess what? They broke all the goddamn laws. They broke all 370 laws, treaties, I should say, with the Indians. They haven't abided by any damn laws with no fucking Indians. But they'll tell you in a heartbeat that the oldest treaty in which that they do recognize is the Moors. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. And when we talk about Moors, Moor, these are nothing more than the so-called black nobility families in which that came from Europe to create what we call the 13 colonies. Okay? The 13 colonies was formed by the black nobility family, and when I'm talking about black in this sense, is swarthy. They were swarthy, copper-colored. Okay? These are the so-called Moors that ruled Europe for over 800 years and came here to seek asylum. Who mixed in with us. So we're talking about 60% of the so-called Negroes in America have European DNA, but it's not white Europeans. It's not pale Europeans. It's not the Albion Europeans in which that you have the bloodline from. You should have the royal bloodline of the Moors who rule Europe. So yes, you are a MUUR, which means that you came from Lemuria, which are the Pacific Islands. In particular, Hawaii is one of the main ones. Okay? Understand that. Understand what is going on. So you're not just Native American. You also are part of the so-called black nobility slash indigenous blacks, which I hate to use the term black, indigenous Moor heritage of Europe as well. And also, you have said African. You are a byproduct of all three. We rule the whole fucking planet. How you just gonna say that you just Native American, nigga? You ain't no damn 100% Native American. You ain't no 100% Amerindian. You ain't no 100% Indian. Stop with them goddamn lies. Even I got 87% indigenous heritage to this landmass. That still leaves 13%, in which that goes back to Africa, as well as also to what we refer to as Europe, which is actually Asia Minor. All right, let's get this shit right. Get it right.
Peace, family.
I'm tired of this fucking psyop program, yo. I can't let these niggas keep going on. This shit is over. Killer Priest already told y'all niggas that shit. Heavy mental. This shit is over. Finish. Done. Anyway, my special guest for tonight is the Archangel Ariel. All right, and we're gonna be building on some fire shit that you got to listen to, because if you ain't gonna be at our event this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, once again, that's a problem. That's a problem, niggas. For real, that's a problem. I keep telling you all that shit. All right, for those that's on the fence, you know what I'm saying? Y'all need to come. Once again, we got the Sweat Lodge going on. We got the goddess right here who's going to be dispensing what we refer to as her nutritional healing, okay? Known as the biogenetic solvency, biotech. You're going to have to respect this shit here. This right here is some fire shit. She resurrected me in one fucking day. This nigga is Jesus. All right? She's a Messiah. Okay? She is a Messiah, niggas. I know some of you niggas are so male chauvinistic that you can't even imagine a woman being a Messiah. That's your problem. That's a problem. That's a problem, niggas. Okay? But anyway, let's start the joint. What's going on with you guys?
Peace, God. All is well. Pleasure
All right.
to be in the space with you. Thank you for giving me a platform and acknowledging me in my work. It's definitely an honor to work with you and the Washita clan. I appreciate y'all.
All right. No doubt. No doubt. Be happy to work with you.
Yeah, man. It's time. We have been praying for um, our liberation and praying for our ascension and our evolution. And we've been held back for many generations. And it takes people like us with that fire and that Aryan energy to come forth with the fierceness and the bravery and the boldness to shift the dynamic, to shake it up. And, that's what we're here to do. My stance is that we cannot lose. We on a winning timeline, and it might be a little bit of a lag for people who are not able to connect with themselves deep enough to resonate with this energy. But this energy is here for the healing of the collective, for those who are called to really go deeper and access these ancient parts of ourselves that they fear. You know, you don't want
Exactly.
to see us unite, but it's that time. You know, we're here for that. I'm here for that, and I'm
Right.
excited. You know,
No doubt.
it's a lot. It's a lot to discuss. It's a lot to tap into. It's a lot to uncover, and you know, this is something that a program and a system that I've been channeling for 5 years. But um, truth be told, I was recently informed by some elders in my bloodline that through my work and my prayer, I had asked to be shown this ancient book. I asked them to open up the book to me. And this is a book of wellness. This is a book of healing. This is a book of DNA ascension that is not in the third dimension. It's in the Akashic records, and it's
Hmm.
guarded by some very powerful elder ancestral energies that I had to study and show myself approved for. And they weighed my heart against a feather and approved me to be able to open this book and learn and study from this book in order to rebraid our DNA, whether it's 12 strands, whether it's 13, 14, however many strands it is. This is a quantum leap in our ascension through, again, like we say, biogenetic um, technology from an ancestral perspective. So it's for us and it's by us. I specialize in that ancestral tools for quantum transformation. And this is, you know, very sacred work, very sacred medicine. I am a sacred medicine woman, but this particular regimen, which is what we call the plasma regeneration regimen, is a regimen that works on multiple different levels. It works on an internal level, an external level, and it works on different dimensions. It works on the subatomic level, it works on the third dimensional level, and it works on the astral level. You know, um, when we were younger, when we were children growing up, um, we were taught our ABCs and one, two, threes. So as adults, we still need our ABCs. So this is going to give you a clue in terms of the supplementation, the depth of supplementation that my regimen consists of, the entire alphabet. And it has to be done very precisely with the right ratios and the right order, and putting it together in conjunction with the energy that's streaming from the genetics of the primordial forces and ancestors themselves, um, working with the sun in particular. We know we need darkness, absolutely, that triple black darkness to build and activate the melanin, but that triple black darkness in conjunction with the sun, which um, is what we are able to leverage through the melanin once it's strengthened and built up in order to allow the DNA to rebraid itself, becomes what I call solar gene editing. We know that in the third dimension, especially in the West, with the medicine or the so called medicine or pharmaceuticals or all of these different things that they've created, like CRISPR, these are what you call gene editing devices on a biological level that know how to intelligently go in and turn off certain genetic markers to further degrade your genetic code. However, within the seven laws of the cosmos, we have the law of balance. And that means that whenever you see something disagreeable, something benevolent is available to balance that energy. And it's through choice. So we all have a choice. And we obviously choose life. We choose vitality. We choose wellness. We choose to tap into our genius and our ancestral memory. So, this solar gene editing is a response to the disagreeable version of gene editing that we have been familiar with through what they put in the food, the air, the water, and even on a psycho-spiritual level, what they put into the psyche through these different forces of programming. So that's what we're dealing with. I can get into this a little bit deeper, but I'm gonna let you take the spot back for a minute.
All right. So we talking about GMO food, what is called Frankenfood, genetically modified organisms, in which that alter the DNA. And your medicine, as I refer to it as, help correct those degraded genes in which that is caused by the food and caused by the nanobot technology, as well as the bacterial spores that is in the air, as well as the fluoride and the fecal matter and all of these type of things that is in the water. So um, your medicines are working at a level of an etheric slash akasha record rate. And that is something in which that has not been formulated. And that's why I give you so much respect, is because that is something in which that we need as a people, because number one, I'm living proof. Number two, um, Brother Barion, we talked today and he feels much better, you know? So, you know, we your guinea pigs. And I can tell you right now that it's the most efficient healing system that I've been involved in. And I'm a master herbalist. I'm a grand Reiki master, meaning that I went through Reiki 1, 2, 3, and through 20 more symbols. You know, I'm a Qigong master, as well as also a practitioner of Tai Chi, as well as also a purple sash within Wing Chun. And I can tell you that nothing in which that I've done have been equal to this magnificent product in which that you have, in which that the ancestors bestowed upon you, in which that they allowed you to read from the Akashic book on the Akashic plane slash the Akashic records. You know, so that is something in which that is fascinating. That is something in which that we thank the ancestors for. We thank you for being a channel, you know, for this, you know, because this is the time in which that is definitely needed. Okay. We are solar beings, y'all. I already told you that 93% of your physical body was created in a star. All right. In a supernova slash explosion. And that explosion became your physical body. But there's 7% in which that still must be activated, in which that is referred to as the rainbow body. The goddess fifth tier is the rainbow. Y'all niggas ain't ready for that yet. You're still going to be at the copper level.
And
Okay.
let me tell you, I'm honestly a humble student and a humble child of the Most High. I'm not even ready for it. Um,
Well, it's coming,
I
and
mean,
you are ready for it. If they give it to you, you ready.
well, and I
Now,
say that
now,
to say,
will everyone else be ready? That's the question.
yeah,
Because
I
I
mean,
don't know why y'all haven't contacted this goddess yet. Her name on Facebook is Ariel Williams. Contact her. Y'all know how to spell Ariel, Ariel, Williams, Williams. Will I ams, niggas. Okay?
yeah. And what I was trying to say is like, I hold a crown within alchemical engineering on a galactic level. I'm aware of that. I've been aware of that for a very long time. I've been a medicine woman for several lifetimes, amongst other things. Um, but in this particular lifetime and timeline, I'm a student within my own mystery school in alchemical system of engineering. And I'm still in the early stages and phases of that. But I'm aware and I've channeled enough of the system to know what's ahead. And what is ahead is incredible for us all. Um, a lot of the medicine that goes into creating this alchemy comes from very far away, but the ultimate goal is um, biogenetic sovereignty once again. And biogenetic sovereignty has multitudes of different layers. The first stage of that is just being cognizant and being aware of your multidimensional being and your vessel, to the degree that you don't need any outside entities like these middlemen, such as big pharma and the medical industry and all of those things, especially advising you when you come from a completely different genetic stock than those who you're receiving this advice from, that may not and usually don't have the best intentions intended for you. That's the first step, right?
Indeed.
And it's interesting because we can all agree, and it's not lost on any of us, that the human body is the most advanced um, biological supercomputer walking this earth, correct?
Correct.
So if
Everything of
that's
their technology is patterned off the physical body. The TV, the
Ashe,
camera, the
which
telephone,
is
the computer. Right.
which is why our ancestors in ancient Kemet will always say the kingdom is within. And even the pyramids were built off of the internal chamber systems, because there are systems of chambers, and we can get into the
Mhm.
chambers. That's one of my nicknames, actually. But just to drive this point home, um, when it comes to biogenetic sovereignty, um, the body being the most advanced supercomputer that we know of on the planet, I don't think we have really meditated on that deep enough in terms of what that really means in essence, um, of what we are capable of in potential. If I'm thinking about a supercomputer, right, and all of what I know them to be capable of, they communicate very well. I mean, think about Chat GPT. That's a supercomputer.
Right.
It can tell you a million things to the T within a few seconds.
Right.
It could write you a book within less than a minute, and it'd be very precise and very, articulate. It can calculate and do supreme mathematics at a rate that, like, we can't even really fathom because we're so dense. But if that's the case, then why doesn't our supercomputer have these abilities online and active, to be able to communicate very well, not only to us, but to the primordial forces in order to leverage the energies available to not only sustain us, but to evolve us. Um, where do we lose that connection and how do we regain that connection? That is a very important aspect of biogenetic sovereignty. So, um, for me, I practice every day just speaking to my body, asking my body, "Hey, how you doing? What do you need from me? Um, what should we be doing today in order to cultivate higher frequencies and different aspects and systems within this system? Um, how are my organs functioning? What food should I be eating? And I give out the medicine to my clients. I have a general synopsis of recommendation, but I tell people, hey, listen to your body. If your body says take two of this particular aspect of the regimen, then take two. But if your body says take four, then take four. If you do take four and you've been on that and it's gotten a little intense, then you know to pull back and you know how to navigate. We've been stripped from our own autonomy so much to the point that everybody's been programmed to believe that this is a one size fit all solution and approach, which is the Western way of doing things. It's like everybody has a prescription and it has directions and instructions, and it's like a one size fit all based on carbon copy things. But the universe doesn't deal in carbon copies, it deals in contrasts. And we all are unique and should be honored in the uniqueness that we were incarnated as individuals. So when you all work with me, this is about knowledge of self and you being able to reflect upon your individuated state of consciousness and how your supercomputer feeds back to you what is necessary for your individual evolution. Some of you all may be advanced, like Elder Alim here. He's a Reiki master amongst other things, and when he first got exposed to my medicine, he was taking very high doses. There's other people that got my medicine and they needed to start with one particular dose, which is a much smaller dose, because that's all they could handle at the time, even though they needed to get to the higher levels. Sometimes you can't give a baby steak. Someone might be in the third trimester of their gestation of their evolution, and somebody else might be in the sixth or the ninth trimester. There's different trimesters and states of gestation into coming into a complete cycle where you're ready to give birth to a new version of yourself. And this is something that we need to become more sensitive to and be more intentional about having the power to connect with ourselves and know exactly what we need and taking more initiative to be able to direct our own evolution as individuals. And this is what I promote with Angelic Alchemy, which is my brand. Um,
Give,
and
give them your own website, Goddess.
my website is angelicalchemy.net. Right now, it's set up for just you being able to email me. Um, but I also have an Instagram, which is angelic double underscore alchemy. It will be live postings starting maybe this weekend. And then from there, we're going to get into some really deep and heavy information. And then you can also find me on Facebook as Ariel Williams. You can hashtag the plasma regeneration regimen. You can hashtag angelic alchemy. You can add hashtag anything related to biogenetic sovereignty, which is a word that I'm not sure is really out there besides what I've been speaking to. But to get into the more complex aspects of biogenetic sovereignty, once we get the baseline down where we're actually steering our own evolution and we get into these higher, more potent um, compounds that I'm able to create, we are able to work with leveraging the light codes of the sun. And as we start to leverage higher amounts of light codes um, from the sun, which takes time because right now we're not receptive to the sun as much as we should be based on how
Correct.
melanin dominant we are, which
Because
is why we,
some Negroes are wearing 105 um, S, S, SP um, solar block, solar sunblock.
yes. So basically, what I'm saying is that this is where we get into the solar gene editing, where you're receiving enough light codes from the sun to the degree that your supercomputer is starting to create its own inner apothecary. Because there used to be a time where we used to eat directly from the menu of the sun. And over the centuries and ages, we have slowly degraded down into a lower version of our existence, where now we have to eat from the fat of the land, which is the fruits and the vegetables and the animals. And up until modern day today, we're not even eating real food anymore.
Sure
You know,
indeed.
there's a lot of, mock food and um, microplastics and all kind of other stuff added into the food that has nothing to do with what source created for us as nourishment, because food is nourishment, but it's also information, and it tells your DNA what to become next. So when we get into the deeper end of the pool, we're going from consuming calories to consuming light codes. And as we start to consume these light codes at higher velocities and higher um, intensity levels, then the body starts to take those nutrients and those minerals that it's pulling in through the sunlight and convert them into different forms of biotechnology, different forms of energy and currency. This is also a wealth system. This is a system that allows us to create wealth based on the free energy that we were meant to harness and leverage before we were on light code lockdown. Um, it's also based on just being able to leverage that energy and convert it through your melanin, which is a superconductor, as I've always heard you speak about, Alim, and that turns into different talents and gifts. It enhances the gifts that you have. Some of us have, you know, creative blocks. We have blocks in the root chakra and all of the other chakras that prevent us from manifesting things on the level and at the velocity that we're supposed to. And this is very important at this time because, as you know, there's a lot of fear and a lot of projection about AI right now because people are losing their jobs to AI. People are concerned about the future because they're making these subliminal and these bold statements that the human being is no longer capable of sovereignty and evolution. So we must merge with computers or
Right,
AI, artificial
right,
intelligence, but not if we remember our ancestral intelligence, which is the
right,
the AI that we're promoting and advocating for, because this is who we are. This is what our DNA speaks to. So
right,
with this ancestral intelligence is to rebraid and rewire our DNA to not only express its original blueprint, but also maybe even go to a higher octave than what we even came in with once we reach that threshold, and look to expand further. So this is a
right,
light body technology, and it works on the endocrine system and the light body alike, right?
right,
So with the endocrine system, it is the gateway between the physical body and the light body. And this is something I spoke to yesterday on the live or the day before. And I was explaining that we know that the endocrine system is the gateway between the physical body and the light body because it deals with all of the glands in the body. That's what the endocrine system is made of, the pineal gland being one of them everybody's familiar with. The pineal gland is also the third eye, right? Which is a part of the light body. So,
Right.
yes, so this is going to also help people, um, purify the light body and the energetic bodies, which will be able to project your physical body appearance and your expressions at a higher octave. There's a lot of homosexuality, and not no shade, because some people just were meant to have that experience and they incarnated to, have that experience. But there, I feel, is also an agenda where the um, gender lines are being blurred, and there's a lot of hormonal imbalances between the sexes. And this system will help you reset your hormonal um, makeup so that you can begin to express the original design of your gender the way that it was supposed to be. So there's a lot involved with that. But when we sit in ceremony, we get a lot deeper into a lot of the purification work, a lot of the internal hygiene, and a lot of the channeling that needs to be done. There is a protocol that I would prefer, which those who are going to be working with us, I would like to you all go ahead and work with the plasma regeneration regimen um, on an individual level, and do the work with purifying the parasites and working with the plasma regeneration regimen. So by the time you come to ceremony, everybody is on one accord and everybody is at a space where they're not in the need of purging, because you've already did that work on your own, and we can come into the space with a higher frequency that can build a higher experience for us all to connect to source on a deeper level, and really tap into the love vibration and all of these other frequencies that will allow us to channel and create um, you know different technology through our thoughts and our higher consciousness, and activating these higher faculties that have went dormant, so that we can start to invoke higher levels of prosperity. This is about wealth, power, and privilege based on the melanin dominance that we have lost touch with. um, you want to go ahead and build on this with me, brother?
Well, tell us more about your products, the name of your products, and what they do. That way people can get a concept of what they getting themselves into. Like, for example, the morning solar regeneration. Tell them about this. Tell them about the various products and everything that it does and what it can do for you. Give them a concept of that.
Okay, so um, there's four different compounds. The first compound is the solar ascension compound, and that comes with the higher amounts of D3 that we need in order for the photonic receptors to open up.
Right.
Magnesium, which is really important. It allows us to magnetize the light codes in at different angles and different depths. And then the K2, which is
And,
really powerful because,
hold on, before you get to the K2, let me say, and the magnesium also helps you to get rid of the shit that your ass is backed up with. Okay, so all you backed up shitty niggas, make sure make sure you get the morning glory. as I call it. Okay,
Yeah.
continue on with
And
the
it's
K2.
deep. It's deep because a lot of people don't understand that the hold on, y'all. I got one of the things in here flying around. I'm scared. Um,
No.
all right, so know who you are and know your connection to source and everything around you, right? So we talked about this in the last live, but I think it's important to like break this down and like really get into this so we can kind of understand how these medicines work. So the body is feminine. You know, the body is of the earth. The earth is feminine, right? And the body is designed from the earth. And then the essence that you are is um, masculine in a way because it's the light and it comes from the solar energy. This is why we have a soul. So, um, being that the body is feminine, the body is receptive, which is why we have photonic receptors in the body to channel in the light. So, being that the sun is the most masculine force in nature and it is um, solar energy and it's light and it's fire, um, it's meant to penetrate and permeate the electromagnetic field. And it is the electricity within the electromagnetism that we're working with in this system. Now, the magnetism is, again, the feminine principle, and it's dealing with the feminine aspect of the body. So, magnesium, in the word magnesium, you have magnet, you have the feminine. So, you know, that magnesium is going to help the body magnetize that photonic light in. So we work with different variations of magnesium. At this point, I know of at least 12 that do different things and work on different aspects. You got magnesium that works on the brain, you got magnesium that works on the gut, you got magnesium that crosses the blood brain barrier. You have different magnesiums that come from different parts of the earth and different parts of the world. So, with that being said, you know, this is again an electromagnetic system that's dealing with the masculine and the feminine, and it increases your magneticity. So, with that being said, it it has a lot of different components to it. I want to talk about the calcification in the body, but before that, I think we got a troll up in here that we needs to get out of here. Alex W. Everything she says need to be proven physically. Where's the proof? I don't have to. I've already proven my work. Who are you? At the end of the day, listen. I posted receipts on my page. You guys can look it up. All you got to do is type my name in on my page and go press in receipts, type in receipts, and you will see that I posted my blood work after being on my regimen for 2.5 weeks. And my organs went from 75% functionality all the way up to 98%. And those receipts are already listed on my page. Niggas just ain't been paying attention. I'm very humble, but you know, whatever you think you coming with, get out of here with that because we here to build. We don't got time for the goofy shit. We don't got time for the nonsense. But anyway, back to the lesson at hand. All right. So with the body, a lot of us know that the pineal gland is calcified, which is why it doesn't work at the level it's supposed to work because the pineal gland is a um, not only a microscope, it's a telescope. You know, the body is condensed light, and the body expands under certain conditions. And that pineal gland, as a microscope or a telescope, allows you to see into the body. But if the pineal gland is calcified, it makes it hard to function. But the thing about it is, it's not just the pineal gland that's calcified, it's the entire vessel that's calcified. So, what my medicine does, and specifically the K2, it goes in and it breaks up the calcification throughout the body. And it takes that calcification that is in the soft tissues and the bloodstream and it directs it out of that area and it drives it into the bones, which we know A lot of people don't know that calcification is calcium. And growing up, we always heard milk does a body good because milk has calcium in it. So milk, pretty much as a nourishment, or calcium as a nourishing factor inside of the bones, is what creates the stem cells and the mitochondrial DNA. And those two things um, are what I call like the OGs of the immune system. And this is very important because a lot of people, um, they do a lot of parasite detoxes, and all it does is really piss off a lot of the parasites because they're not really going deep enough to eradicate them. So the parasites are very smart. They know how to hide. They know how to burrow themselves if they feel threatened by any kind of cleansing that you're trying to do that's not strong enough. They will go run and hide and burrow themselves deeper in the body. And when that happens, then they'll come back out with vengeance when the coast is clear. You know, um, that's something that this regimen addresses because when the stem cells come out of the bones, they're higher ranking than a lot of what these so-called herbs that are purifying, so-called purifying the body, supposed to do. What they'll do is they'll go inside of the cell and they'll do a roll call and they'll separate the wheat from the chaff. They'll separate the you know the original genetic parts of the cell, and then they'll also identify what the invaders are because of these a lot of these parasites will go inside the cell and pretend to be a part of the immune system, and then we can eradicate that and bring those out into the open. And then that's when a lot of the herbal detoxes and the binders can pull and sweep everything out of the body and push it out through the elimination system. So
Okay.
that's pretty much a lot of what this medicine does on an internal level. But the whole time, as you're opening your body up to be more receptive to sunlight and be more absorbing of the sunlight, that also plays a role in eradicating the parasites as well. Because, vampires are parasites, parasites are bloodsuckers. We know that they don't like sunlight. And as soon as you expose them to sunlight, they burn up and they leave. So we're basically elevating the frequency and the vibration of the body to where these things just can't exist because the vibration is too high.
Okay.
Can you expand on the K2 so not to get confused by the synthetic weed? Oh, okay, yeah, K2 is a vitamin. So, there's different versions. I think there's at least like seven different versions. You got K1, you have MK4, you have MK7, you have K9. There's different versions of K2. That's the a general description of it. But yeah, these are vitamins I'm talking about, and also hormonal uh, medicines. So yeah, and they do different things. Some of them are like long chain where it cycles over the course of days, like the K7, and then you have more of like a short term K2 that like it works within a few hours, but it's very aggressive. So we're dealing with these two different versions, mainly K2 and MK4 and K7. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me say
And
this
then
too. I
he's
don't know if
saying
you've
just sitting
seen.
in the sun. Now I want to address that, Doc.
Yeah, yeah.
So just sitting in the sun helps for how long? Um, you need to sit in the sun as long as possible. Um, but it's in conjunction with the regimen, because the regimen, when you take this regimen, you're going to realize that we really don't know what the sun feels like. And I know
Right.
that sounds crazy to say, but you'll feel the difference. Like a lot of people, even melanated people right now, can't take the sun. It's intense.
Right.
Like if you sit in the sun for 3 hours, after a while, you're like, whew, okay, it's time for me to get in the house and I'm overheated. But when you work with this regimen, it's like it doesn't burn, but it tingles, and you could feel the energy from the sun, like as a very gentle yet powerful um, source of light integrating into your body at a higher velocity, and your consciousness just wakes up to that. So, when you experience it, you'll see for yourself. You'll see.
Yeah, let me say this. It takes 8 minutes for the blood in your body to circulate through the whole vessel. So if you have seven chakras, 8 times 7 is 56. Therefore, you have to sit in the sun for at least an hour, all right, to receive some benefit. As the guide has stated, as long as you possibly can, but at least an hour would do the body good. Okay.
Hmm. That's right. And somebody asked, how important is sun gazing? To me, I don't think sun gazing is as important as I used to think, because your whole body needs to be exposed to the sun. You know, your eyes are just one aspect of your body, but your whole body is intelligent enough to absorb the sun. You're basically, with this process that we're speaking to with the plasma regeneration regimen, you're turning your entire body into a solar panel, into a very highly conductive solar panel for the sun. That's what we're doing.
Right. Oh, let me say this too. Brother Sarnetta was in here, was in the room, and he said the sister know what she's talking about. So you might have a show soon with Brother Sarnetta.
I say gratitude for that. You know,
Oh yeah.
real recognize real. You know.
All
Okay, it
right.
says, but when
Let me
your
see if
eyes
there's
take
any.
in the light, it goes into your brain, it goes through your nervous system, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna sun gaze, you want to do that like at the early morning hours, like right at sunrise or right at sunset. And
Right.
then there's certain breathing techniques that you can do as well. I definitely highly recommend to pray while you're in that space, sitting in the nature and sitting in the sun, especially if you're by a body of water, because the bodies of water is receptive. Water holds energy, so water is going to hold your prayers and carry them forward. But when you're dealing with the light, a lot of our ancestors are angelic, they are benevolent, and they're light energies. So it creates a portal in an open space for you to be able to speak to them, and for your voice and your prayers to be heard, sanctioned, and paid forward, as well as the sun itself. You can communicate with the sun. You can ask it for what it needs. You can, coalesce with these energies, and you'll get more results while you're out there. So it's always good to multitask when you're in that space working with the sun, whether you're sun gazing or just allowing your whole body to absorb the sun, or doing both, a combination. It's always good to do your prayer, do your breath work, and whatever rituals you have. Some of you guys are into the qigong and all of these other different practices.
Mhm.
Yeah, do it up.
No doubt. All right. We're gonna close up. Any closing remarks that you want to make?
Just want to say appreciate all of you all who are chiming in, asking questions, and appreciate what we're putting down as information, because it takes a collective of us to really move and shift the frequency and the dynamic of that. And I'm committed to seeing this process through. I'm committed to my process, and I'm committed to serving the community. I love you all.
All
Ashe.
right. And let me say this, continuing now for days, weeks, months, and years to come, we're moving towards our cherished goals of health, wealth, knowledge of self, protection, and amen. All right. So we just going to say, yo, we out, y'all. Peace.
Peace.